Hello guys, welcome back to part 4 of the 5 things that you need to do in order to move into your new home by Christmas. Thank you for all of you that have joined us for the last 3 segments, and I've had a lot of inquiries through from that, so I appreciate you reaching out. We've been able to help you where we can. In terms of what we've already covered, as discussed, first step was to identify the 3 key features of what you're looking for in your new home, and understanding how you can actually find that particular type of property. Then we discussed off-market opportunities and how that benefits you as a vendor or a buyer. Then yesterday we discussed about the quick and easy process of getting an appraisal if you're wanting to sell your property before you buy, and the importance of finance and the time that it's taking currently in order to get your finance approved, and being able to go unconditional once you find a property. So the topic of discussion today is about how you prepare your home and what exactly happens once you decide to go to market, what that sort of period looks like, what are the contacts that you need to be aware of and being in contact with to be able to get the property ready on the market, and start the process from there. So starting off from the first step, which is preparing the property to go on market. So naturally, depending on how the property presents and when was the last time that any major renovations or minor renovations were done, it would determine what sort of level of input that you're going to be doing at this time, what sort of works you'll be doing in order to put it on the market. Now, there's 2 ways to go about this. One is if you're wanting to sell it as is, if you're in a particular time slot, so you are wanting to sell as quickly as possible and then move on to buy that next home. Naturally, if there's works that are to be done and are not dealt with prior to you putting it on the market, the price will be reflected accordingly. However, if you do decide that you do want to be able to do the basics to at least get it presentable at a level, these are the few things that I would recommend. Firstly, from a painting point of view, from presentation overall, the paint, the whiter colors definitely make the rooms look a lot brighter. Definitely a key and makes a good first impact. Now, in terms of a cost idea, a rough guide for a single story home, which is about 4 bedrooms, you're looking around the $6,000 to $7,000 off painting if you're painting the whole house internally. So that's sort of a rough guide. However, if that's not something that you're wanting to keep into, and keeping in mind the incoming buyer might want to do their own feature walls or other painting that you may have used that time and money, which you could have saved. So if it's not critical, it's not something that you need to do, let's not do that, and let's move on to the next kind of thing. So naturally, the things that are appealing to a buyer when they're walking into a property is how it's presented, how it's laid out, the way that the light falls into the property. The 2 key things being the kitchen and the bedroom sizes. They're 2 critical things that the buyers right now are looking for: a modern kitchen and how much space the bedrooms really have in order to suit their family. So in terms of the presentation, if you're wanting to do just a quick sort of a renovation, whatever that might be, we've got a lot of those contacts that can help you. And because we are accredited with a number of suppliers on our database, we'll be able to recommend more than one if one is busy doing other work. So if it is something that you are considering of getting opinions on in terms of handyman tasks or basic things, we're happy to guide you on that as well. Now, talking about presentation, styling plays a huge part, because naturally, as you can imagine, when you're going into a property that looks like a display home, it's far more engaging and far more it's something that you want to consider more than a property that's not, just because you can feel, it's a sensory experience, as some like to call it. So when they can touch and feel, although they're not buying the furniture, we have a lot of buyers that actually sit and feel and take that sort of feeling about what it would be like to be able to live in that property. So definitely recommend putting styling into the property, so having it professionally styled. Now, the good thing is, even if you are living in the property, you can get it partially styled and utilize those pieces that have been used to create the home as a display home as well. So typically these are 4 to 6 week campaigns. You use the items that are within the property. Naturally, you stow them away, not when they're not at open homes, but it's something that you can do that as well. Again, we've got contacts that can do that for you. And the other good thing is, from a cost perspective, a lot of the cost for styling as well as for marketing is something that can be paid at a later stage once it's funded through some of the providers that we use, the likes of List Ready, Campaign Flow, where they provide the funds to us upfront as the agency. So there's no cost directly out of your pocket at the beginning, and then you repay that at settlement or at a certain term that they've set out. So really good for cash flow management. It allows you to do, and it also includes mini renovations as well. There is a cap on the spend limit, but if you are doing some works to prepare the property to come on the market, these guys can provide that sort of funding help as well. It doesn't require any credit checks or anything, so it's a nice and simple process, which allows you to get your property on the market a lot faster. Now, once your property is prepared, you've done the handyman task, you've done the styling, it's ready to go. Typically, we allow about 5 business days for the contract of sale to come into become available before we can actually advertise the property. So when you're trying to work backwards, create a timeline of how long it actually will take from the day that you actually sign the dotted line on the agency agreement to the day that the next step being the photos and the styling happening prior to the photos. The other things that you need to allow for are the availability of the contracts becoming available before you hit the market with the property. And as we've been doing, our goal is always to be able to strike while the iron's hot, while there's a lot of interest in the property, which is typically at the first open home. That's the day that on that night we are bringing offers to our vendors to be able to close the deal once we've seen that sentiment from the buyers that are coming through the property. So definitely key from that. So the overall process of actually having the photos taken and having the contract done, it is about a week. So even, for example, hypothetically, the photos are being taken on a Monday, you're briefing in the contracts on a Monday, the contracts become available by sort of Thursday, Friday. It allows you that sort of time frame to be able to go to market and host the first inspection on that Saturday. So longer time, the better, but typically speaking, if you're looking at a compressed rate, that's what you can look for. And again, we've got contacts that, the solicitor contacts that can help you if you don't already have a solicitor. Thank you very much for listening. Part 4. We will be coming to you tomorrow about what happens at the actual, once your property is sold, once it goes into the cooling off period, and once you've bought your property, the one that you've actually going to move into by Christmas, what are the things that you need to allow for from the time that you put the initial deposit to when it cooling off ends, and then the settlement day, and what are the things that you can do prior in order to make sure that you're getting the best property. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you guys tomorrow.